By your side when the sun sets. Gray, wake up! Hands grasped his shoulder and shook him until he swatted them away. He winced as the motion pulled at the scar tissue along his back, the unfortunate remnant of a battle he couldn't quite remember. They all started to blend together after a couple decades spent Dragonback, slashing and fighting in the name of God and country. As the screams, roars, and strong smell of something burning made their way through the layers of exhaustion, he snapped completely awake, reaching for his boots and sword. "What is it? Are we under attack?" He shoved the boots on, grabbed the sword, and ran into the hallway, the cadet who'd awakened him, young and eager like all the cadets, who he could never name, but who he always smiled at and nodded to when he passed, trailing along behind him. If they were under attack, that was a very bad sign, because it meant that the forces of the Emperor had somehow snuck past their front lines to attack the very core of Kalandar, where only the too old, the too young, and the wounded were left to defend the capital. He pushed forward, following the roars and screams as women and children rushed past him in the opposite direction, faces coated in soot, eyes wide with fear. The smoke of whatever was burning singed the back of his throat and brought tears to his eyes. He wasn't used to being on the ground when dragons were fighting. He didn't like it. "How did they get past the front line?" he demanded of the cadet, who had to be at least 6 foot tall, but trailed along in his wake like a lost puppy looking for a home. "We're not under attack, sir. It's Melanorius, sir." "Mal?" He stopped in his tracks, and the cadet ran into the back of him, quickly backing away, his eyes on the sword in Gray's hand. "Yes, sir. We don't know what's wrong with him." Gray let out a long string of cuss words as he raced towards the large sand pit where he'd left Mal asleep just a few hours before. Time was, he would have been sleeping out there next to Mal, but old bones required comfortable beds, and even that didn't seem to help much anymore. He ached in 1,000 different places, no matter where he slept or what he took for the pain. He ran into a scene of chaos, illuminated by the light of a full moon and dancing flames. At least a dozen men were passing buckets along a line, trying to put out a stable that was on fire. Another half dozen were trying to wrangle the horses that had been led away from the stable. But he didn't care about them. He cared only for Mal, his dragon, his companion for the last 25 years. Mal might have been assigned to him like you'd assign a cavalry soldier his horse, but over too many campaigns and too many miles to count, Mal had been the one constant in his life, his best friend. And now, Mal stood on his hind legs, 3 stories tall, bellowing his rage to the world, breathing fire towards the men who encircled him with ropes and arrows, ready to bring him down. A young cadet, even younger than the one that trailed Gray, raised his bow, arrow nocked, aiming at one of Mal's large golden eyes.